It is so funny. I realized after finishing Call of the Night episode 9 that I'd never got an answer to the cliffhanger that we left off with episode 8. So we just basically went back to something else that was teased at. I'm a little upset now that I realize that this whole thing with Mahiru and a possible vampire, we're just gonna put that over here. We're just gonna put a pin in it for now. I think I was too distracted by the Gyaru vampire, honestly. Seri's hard to just completely ignore, so yeah, fantastic episode though. I think this one was another episode that sort of starts to tip a little bit into that dark realm. Well, not quite getting there. Just really, this entire episode, we're kind of thinking this Seri girl's gonna kill somebody. Now, granted, at the very end, we come to find out that no, she doesn't really do that. She's not actually that vicious, but it does give us a perspective of a vampire itself that's sort of tired of the norms of being a vampire, which I think was a really cool way of kind of putting it. Honestly, when we got the first introduction of Seri, my mindset was going more to the idea of a vampire that's lived so long that they're tired of being alive, that they're tired of the world they're in. They need something to spruce it up, something to make it fun again. They've lost that fun. And that was obviously what she hinted at to Ko, and that's obviously what he ends up attaching to when he starts to prod at her. As we open up this episode, we get this quick interaction with Seri going to glomp at Ko, and then yes, Nazuna shows up and drop kicks her. Like, I was trying to protect you. I just hate her face, so I decided to kick it. I thought you said that you were trying to protect me. But no, this goes into Ko really prodding at Seri. What did you mean by what you said? Oh, I was just trying to tease at you. I didn't really mean it. I was just lying to get your attention. Are you really? Ko's kind of turning into the problem fixer. We kind of seen that with the whole situation of the office worker, and now we're seeing it with the other vampires, and I'm kind of wondering if we'll do that with every one of these girls that are part of this one group. What is your problem? What is the difficulty that you're facing? It's a broken person finding something broken in somebody else and at least trying to help them with their problem. So yes, as we see them go to karaoke and Seri continues to kind of tease at him and work at him, he's prodding at her to really try to figure out what's wrong with her. And it kind of upsets her at first. I like that whole idea that she's like, look, why can't you just enjoy your time with me like you do Nazuna? Stop trying to fix me. And yes, throughout the entire episode, we keep hearing Seri's phone going off. She's constantly getting people bugging her. But additionally, one specific person, which is Akiyama. Akiyama is this guy, this human, that sort of has an attachment with Seri, and she doesn't want to deal with it. Now, it seems like it's kind of interesting that the entire episode, we're sort of getting this idea that he's a stalker. And yes, even when he shows up at the karaoke, he's just banging on the door like a stalker. He just wants so badly to see her. And she's like, you know what? If it gets messy enough, I'll just take him out. I'll just get rid of him. And obviously, Ko doesn't want to see that. But it was kind of interesting having this moment where Ko's like, no, you don't kill him. She gets angry. This is kind of one of our first points in which we really do see that divide between a human and a vampire, at least at face value. This concept that I really like to see in certain shows like this, where it kind of defines, look, that's human morals. That's human rules. Vampires don't go by your rules. Don't kill humans. Humans die all the time and you don't care. I don't go by your rules. It's sort of kind of a wake-up call for Ko, but interestingly enough, I was kind of a little shocked by his response. I had to kind of double take it. Like, he doesn't really go, no, you can't kill humans. That's against the rules. It's bad. No, he's just like, no, I know that I can't tell you what to do. But it's just, I think at this point, he's really seeing the bigger picture. That she's not really being truthful about what she's saying. And yes, as Akiyama comes in and she says literally, yeah, this is getting too messy, time to get rid of this guy, Ko intervenes. And I think this is really because Ko sees a bigger picture. Something's happening here. And I think he's sort of putting together everything that he's heard so far. As he drags this guy away, the guy obviously asks, what's Ko's relationship to her? He's like, nothing. But what's your relationship? And he's like, well, that's what we kind of find out what's really going on here. Through the perspective of Akiyama, he's obviously somebody who is a close friend of Seri that Seri really did like. Like, Seri was looking for something beyond what vampires are known for. Vampires go out, they romance, they get to a point where they can create offspring, they feed off them, or they get rid of them if it's too much of a problem. But what it really lays out is something really cool that I really, honestly, I wasn't, like, it's the last thing I can honestly say I was expecting, which is this idea that Seri was looking for something outside of that mold, and that she just wanted a friend. She wanted somebody that she can talk to, somebody that wasn't a romance, somebody that wasn't an offspring. And as he got closer and closer to and more dependent upon her, it became something so much more than that. Yes, in the end, he loves her, but she didn't really want that. she didn't want to do the usual. It's almost as if she obviously wanted something different in Akiyama. It is technically nice that in the end, he does acknowledge the idea that from the beginning, she was probably using him. She was probably playing into him to get that relationship built. That she was doing the norm from the very beginning, but over time that changed. And yes, from Seri's perspective, it seems like that changed as well. It went from a target, a food source, a possible offspring, to something more. Something that just isn't the usual for a vampire. And it's cool because it kind of gets weird right here. Because Seri does technically want to take him out. She wants to end him because she doesn't want this relationship to sort of end the same way that it usually does. That she creates an offspring and it plays in the usual fare that a vampire would do. And what reveals that is that as Nazuna knocks her down, she's like, what are you doing? Why are suddenly you wanting to kill? This entire episode, it was making it out as if, oh yeah, whenever things get messy, she just takes him out. Oh yeah, this is getting too much, take him out. Oh, he's becoming too clingy, take him out. I don't want to create an offspring, so I'm just going to take him out. But Nazuna reveals to us that, no, that's not what she normally does. This is a first for her. It kind of shows how frustrated she was at the current situation. She wanted a friend. She wanted something different than the norm. Because she was so frustrated that romance was a part of every interaction that she's ever had, this was the first time she had a friend, and she didn't want to lose it. She didn't want it to change. And in the end, she doesn't even know how to communicate normally. Like a friend. And yeah, Ko being the new fixer of people person of this show, he has to be the one to speak up. I like how we have this really drawn out pause where it's like, is nobody going to say anything? Is Akiyama not going to say anything? No, Ko has to speak up. You're the problem. Because she was calling him a drag. He's like, no, you're the drag. You enjoy having a friend, but you're going to kill them because you don't want to ruin that relationship? You're the drag. It was a fun little end to it. It was cool to kind of wrap it up with this kind of mentality of, Seri's acknowledging that, yeah, Ko and Nazuna has this relationship that technically I can have as well. It's just not normal. The idea of a human being with a vampire just isn't normal because obviously, eventually, this one dies and you're left alone because you live, way longer than a human does. So it kind of creates that aspect. Akiyama accepting, make me your offspring. Like, let me be with you. I was kind of expecting at this point it would be one of those moments where it goes, look, yes, I do love you. At least he's acknowledging that. He has to because otherwise he's not going to become a vampire. But at least it sort of leaves a little bit of gap in there that they could have kind of expressed this idea that yes, you can love somebody. It doesn't mean you have to be romantic. It can still be a friendship. Technically, lovers should be friends. People that are in a relationship should be friends. They should enjoy each other's company. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think that's something that Seri does technically learn in this situation. It doesn't have to go by the playbook. Yeah, solid episode. Really did enjoy it. And it's technically what I wanted. Like I said, despite my issues with, I wanted to find out what happened with Mahiru. I was dreading after that end of that last episode, but technically we did get the thing that we were hinting at with Seri. We got that explanation there. Again, I kind of hope that we can get back to Mahiru next episode, but there's a chance that we might continue this pattern, going to each one of these. My thought process is that we're probably going to get into each of these girls' issues, get to know them more, find out what their issues is, things that they might have a problem with, and having Ko fix them all. It's not a bad thing. I think it's really cool. It's the human perspective in a vampire situation. The vampires see things as norm, which is exactly what we got from Seri. This is the norm for us. Ko giving a different perspective. Why don't you look at it from this perspective? And yes, listen to me sing really old songs. I got a kick out of that. If this episode taught us anything, yes, JK are the most popular types out there, and when they're vampires and they're mad, they're really scary. But I hope you guys enjoyed my impressions of episode 9 of Call the Night. If you did, make sure to hit that like button down below, comment, let me know what's thought of the episodes. Subscribe to the channel if you've not already. I do news, reviews, first impression. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you want to support the channel more, we have a Patreon link, a tips link, and a super thanks button down below. I greatly appreciate everybody that does, and y'all take care.